We're going to get started on step 10, building the front steering. And let me start off by saying half the time when we build steering here, we end up building them backwards. So we're going to try to take our time and look at things real close to make sure that we get all the right parts in all the right places. So I've left the parts on the trees. We are going to start, and you have a left side and a right side. So we need to start with one of the sides because they use different parts. Although they look the same, they're opposite parts. So as we look, let's go ahead and start on the right one. And as we look at this, let's go ahead and take the parts off the tree, and these are using parts number 1, as you can see in the manual here, and part number 1. And the left side uses part number 2's. So we're going to leave these on the trees. We're going to start with part number 1. And again, you can see the tree number in part 1 and part 2. So we're just going to take the 1 off and leave the 2 on the tree. And we're going to do the same here for this unit. And again, you can see a 1 and a 2. So we're going to take off part number 1. So hopefully we have the right parts. Only time will tell. Sometimes the directions are backwards too. I've run into that, but make sure that our little spar pieces are cut off from the trees. And where are we going to start here? Let's start by positioning this unit here the same as it's positioned in the manual, and that is with the steering linkage towards the right. Let's take this unit here and position it as it is in the manual, and as you can see, it sticks out on this side, and so we're going to turn it because the directions are showing that it sticks out on that side. Let's start here by matching these two pieces up, and they'll slide right together like so. And again, let's take a look and make sure that we're matching them up properly. We have the steering linkage pointing in this direction and this part pointing out in that direction. We're going to grab one of these little king pins, and it's marked EXO steering king pin. And you see that there's a shoulder here, and then there's a little notch. And we'll show you how those notches work in just a minute. Let's go ahead and insert that in and line up the holes so everything goes in like so. And we're going to repeat that on the top. You may have to wiggle this stuff around so that it sets in properly. Okay, and at this point these should rotate. Shouldn't bind up, and they should rotate fully. If it's binding up, check your make sure that you don't have any flashing or anything on the inside portions here to restrict or bind the steering. Okay, you're going to see two holes here, one here and one here. We're going to use the tiny little set screws that come with it, and remember the little notches on the king pin? These go in through the plastic, and you want them so that they just touch the king pin on that little divot that's in there, and that's going to keep them from sliding out. It's kind of an art here to get these in properly. Go ahead and start it and screw it in, and it's going to be real easy to screw in. And then as soon as you feel it touch or start to get a little bit restrictive, stop right there. You don't want to screw in anymore. What that is doing now is it's touching the king pin in that little groove so it doesn't pull out. And you can test it with your fingernail and make sure that it doesn't pull out. If you try to tighten it too much, you will strip that, and then these will be popping back out and you'll be forced to buy a new part. So again, we're going to do this very, very gently. And we're going to take the second screw hole here. We're going to screw it in. And this one is very, very easy to screw in. We're just going to keep going in until we feel it touch. And that's it. No more. Right there. Just feel it touch. And then double check and make sure nothing is going to pull out. Again, anytime you put a piece on, let's check and make sure that nothing is binding. It's pretty straightforward. However, you do want to make sure that you do it properly, you keep all your parts in the proper orientation, and that you don't over tighten the little set screw. Okie dokie, now let's reach in and grab a 10 by 15 bearing and another 5 by 11. These are our FastEddy bearings, so you have a 10-15 and a 5 by 11. We'll seal the bag up so it doesn't get lost. Now we are going to take one of the dog bones here, the axles, and we're going to slide that bearing over. Can we do it this way? Yes, we can. Okay, let's go ahead and slide it over so it seats down, just like so. And we're going to push it in through the hole, the big hole, just like so. Push it in until that bearing seats. Make sure it's not binding up. Now we're going to take our smaller bearing, put it over the top, and seat it down all the way in. Just like that. The bones are universal. It doesn't matter which one goes in which side. So that is what that is all about. Just out of experience, you can keep these the way that they are, but we're going to be working with them later. And these do come out, and they like to fall all over the place. So just make sure your bearings are set in. You can set this over to the side for now, but later on we will be taking these out for a little bit to work on the vehicle. Okay, so this is the right side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this on the right side of my manual. Now, doing the same exact thing, let's go ahead and build the left side. I'm going to do that off camera, and we'll be right back. Okay, step number 11, now that we have our knuckles all put together. And again, I put the left one on the left and the right one on the right so they don't get confused. Okay, now we're going to take the AX80111 tree, and you can see the 80X011 right here. And we are going to start on the right, okay? The right side. And the right side is part number 2 on the tree. So I'm going to again leave these on the tree until I take off the one that I need so that I don't get them confused. And this one is part number 2. Go ahead and trim off all of our pieces here and get the part off the tree. And it's really important on this part here that we shave off the tree spars. Otherwise it'll bind against the other parts, and we don't want that. Okay, so we've got those cleaned off. Let's clean off the ones on this end. Make sure you don't cut your thumb off. Don't try that at home. You didn't see me do that. Okay. So, one more time. We're working on the right. And we're going to set this in the same position that you see it in the manual here. And that is, you're going to see the thicker portion back here is towards the back, and the part with this little truss here is towards the front, part with the V towards the back, like so. And since we set this one on the left and this one on the right, we know this is the right. And another way to tell, excuse me, is on one of these pieces it's going to say 1. You can see the 1 right here, and if we come back up here we can see that 1 is on the right. So we know we have the right piece here. We've got a part with 2 holes on the top and a single hole on the bottom. At this point, this is when this stuff likes to fall out. I'm going to try to keep it in there while we're doing it because that's what it's showing in the manual, but this front bearing can fall out and the bones here can fall out while you're doing this, and it's just part of the game, so you can just take them out or you can leave them in. So we're going to line up just like it shows in the manual, the 2 holes here, and we're going to slip them together. They should slide together very, very easily. If there's a little bit amount of friction there, but not much. If there's a whole bunch, you may need to trim that down a little bit. We're going to take the shorter of the 2 shoulder screws. It's got a long shoulder with small threads on it, and from this direction here we're going to go ahead and slide it through. It's going to come out the other side here, and there's going to be a little bit of a shoulder there that sticks out, but we are going to remove that. We're going to take one of the little nylock nuts, and we're going to go ahead and use the multi-tool that came in the kit with fumble fingers here, and we're going to tighten this down all the way. See if I can find the right wrench here. There we go. Tighten that down all the way. You can make it nice and snug. You're not going to strip that one out. And now, just like any time that you put a new piece in, let's make sure that there's no binding. There's a little bit of friction there. It's not free falling. However, you don't want it to bind up. You want it to be fairly loose. Let's double check, make sure our bearings are in there. We'll slip our bone back in for now. And that's what your finished piece for the right should look like, just like so. Match it up with the picture, make sure. And again, since this is the right, I'm going to set it on the right side of my manual. Let's go ahead and do the left part. We're going to do this off camera, and we'll be right back when we're done.